Good evening, everybody. Trust you all are doing good. So, today we will discuss about MVCC and a little bit about optimistic algorithms. So, MVCC stands for multi-one version concurrency control. Uh, we will start with that. So, what a database do? What database do is it maintains, but in MVCC, it maintains multiple physical version of a single logical object in a database. What is logical object here? At application level, when we do a query, when we actually do a query, we only see a tuple. Basically, tuple view, we actually see the tuple view. But internally, it could store a number of copies of tuple. So there are physical versions of a particular record, that is the logical object which we are seeing as a tuple, but there are multiple copies of physical of that object in MVCC. Secondly, when a transaction writes to an object, the DBMS creates a new version of that object. So this is the new thing which is here is whenever you update something or write something to an object, it creates a new version of that object. So what we actually know and what we actually see it as, like the value will be updated and no records will be maintained. But in MVCC, or so what happens is the new version is created and older version is also stored. Secondly, when a transaction reads an object, it reads the newest version and existed when the transaction started. So suppose my transaction starts at XYZ instance. So till then, I will read the newest version of that object. Is it clear to everybody?
No,
Yeah.
clearly.
Student,
Okay.
please respond whether it is clear to you or not so that we can proceed further.
Okay. Now this is very interesting that this concept was first proposed in 1978 MIT PhD dissertation, and now from last 10 years it is in every database. Name any database and you have MVCC in it. Every database is following multi-version concurrency control. This is quite interesting that it was proposed in 1978 and there was one application which was developed in 1980s, like, and it is still there but not that popular. But now MVCC is used in almost every database: SQL, MySQL, whatever, Oracle. There is a MVCC protocol which is used. So this is quite interesting fact about MVCC. Few of the main benefits of MVCC are below, as I've written. Writers don't block readers. What does it mean? We have consider we have a transaction which is writing to an object, and all other transaction can read the older version of that object without having any shared log. This is one benefit of this MVCC. Is it clear to everyone?
Can we do the first slide again? It's not clear actually.
Sure, sure. Please tell me.
I didn't understand what MVCC is actually.
What MVCC is, consider, say, what database do? Database maintains some physical, logical copies, logical objects, physical versions of that, right? What we see is a tuple of an object. Like you select a query, select star from students, so you see a tuple or table kind of thing, which is a logical view, right?
Okay.
So in MVCC, suppose in normal database, when you update a student, suppose you update some marks of a student with fair clause or something like that. So what MVCC is doing, this is a protocol, right? So what is it does is it creates a multiple physical versions of that logical object. So it will not update that particular instance, but it will create a new instance, right?
Okay.
It will create a new version.
I got it.
Correct.
Multiple copies, not updating the old one.
Yeah, not updating the old one. It is creating a new object and multiple physical copies. And what you are seeing is one logical view. You will not see all the objects, right?
Got it.
Other 2 points are also clear. When a transaction write to an object, new version is created and you can read the newest version of that object.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So coming to the main benefits of MVCC. So writer don't block readers. So what actually you have an idea of that, right? When I write something, so I take a lock to uh, provide concurrency in my database. So here in MVCC, what is happening is, suppose we have a transaction which is writing to an object, and all the other transactions can read the older version of that object, right? Without having any shared lock. There is no shared lock for reading. Am I clear?
Yes.
So coming to the next point, read-only transactions can read a consistent snapshot without acquiring lock, which I have also explained in my previous point. So I think this is also clear. So this is very important that it easily supports time travel queries. So what is time travel query? So it very rarely used in um, real life examples, but generally you can see it in financial firms, or you can consider an example of your college only, that numbers of student records are created yearly, and you have that previous records also from time series, right? If you want to see a record of a student from 1990 or whenever this college is created, you can see that, right? This is time travel queries. In financial firms it is mainly used. So a particular stock is there, so what was the price of that, and now what is this type of things. So I suppose this is also very much clear with you all, right? So the purpose of time travel query is, if I want to run some query that existed 2 days ago or a year ago or 10 years ago, I can do, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So MVCC is more than just a concurrency control protocol. It completely affects the database, manages transaction and the database. So it is not just the concurrency control protocol, it affects everything. How the objects are managed, how the versions are created, how transactions will occur, how these will be updated. Everything is completely affected by using MVCC. And I'm repeating myself that every database, whichever you are using, name it, and it is using MVCC, most of them. So coming to the next slide. So MVCC design discussions, like what it is. Concurrency control protocol is there, version storage, how version are storage, how garbage collection is there, and index management. These are the few points which are important, and we'll be discussing few of them. So this is MVCC design. So this is MVCC implementations. You can see on the left side of the table there are a number of databases protocols which are using, like MVOOC stands for multi-version optimistic concurrency control, like MV2PL stands for two-phase locking, correct? So these are the protocols. Version storage, garbage collection, how, just a overview of databases, how and what they are using, right? Indexes, logical or physical, correct? So uh, now comes the MVCC implementation, how actually tuple store in MVCC. So you can see that this is one object, right? If there is a student record, student has multiple rows, so one record stands here like that. There is a transaction ID, begin transaction, time stream, and the end time stream, and a pointer to the next or previous version. Additional metadata, which can be anything, any related data, schema related data, or anything which which is stored in a tuple format, and the actual data. So transaction ID here is a unique transaction identifier, which identifies a particular transaction. So begin transaction of time stream and end time stream, difference of that uh, tells us the version lifetime, how much one particular version is it is the lifetime of a particular version, that it begins here in this instance and ended in this instance, and later a updated copy was created. See, okay. So next is pointer. Pointer is next or previous version. It point to the next or the previous pointer. Additional data, maybe anything. As I told you that it may be related to your data, some information about that, and a particular and the data. So what is important here, that each tuple, each field of that this tuple is of 64 bits. So in terms of space, you can see that each field is having 64 bits, and there are 1 2 3 4 5 6 fields which this tuple is using. So 64 per field, 32 bytes per tuple. So one tuple is having 32 byte storage. So this amount is very huge. If you consider a billion tuple, and it will take only metadata will take 32 GB of data. So MVCC sounds great, but this is what the actual cost is. You should look into that, because every single bit which we use in our systems, when we are developing database or working with database, a single bit which we save is important, or when we do hackathon and everything. So here a single tuple is having 32 bytes. So this is quite interesting, and uh, this is the point which is important for MVCC. So coming to the next slide. So concurrency control protocol, stem ordering. Second is optimistic concurrency control, which we will be discussing. Am I audible? Is it clear?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay. So first approach is timestamp ordering. Second is optimistic concurrency control, which I will discuss a little bit about. And second is two-phase locking, which you already have read. So almost everything is same, just here the approach is different. Like multiple copies are there. So how these copies are created, when it will be created, and what will be the rules for that, what are the scenarios, we will be discussing that. Those things are only different, and everything is same. Two-phase locking is exactly same, and timestamp ordering is also um, almost same. So multiple copies are there. This is the main point for MVCC. So how timestamp ordering is actually works. So you can see that a particular suppose this is it. These are two transaction, AX and BX. So how it stores is on your screen. Like there is a transaction ID 0, read transaction 1, begin transaction, and end transaction is right there. So read TS is I have written that field in the header to keep track of the timestamp of the last transaction that reads it. So what it is the number of keep tracks of the timestamp last transaction which reads that particular uh, tuple, right? So transaction ID is currently holds a lock for the tuple we are modifying. So initially it is always 0 unless some transaction is currently taken log for it, and we use comparison logs to try this, convert whenever transaction ID is there. Like if it is updated, so I will change the transaction ID for that, whatever transaction is holding log for that particular transaction. So begin transaction, begin TS, when it is started or created, particular instance of that, and either NTS will have the value of infinity or the timestamp of the last updated. When the particular tuple is last updated, the TS will NTS will store that or the infinity. So these are the few constraints for a particular tuple. So I have told you that transaction ID will hold the log, will store the currently hold log for this tuple, right? So whatever transaction is having log for the particular tuple will be stored in this transaction ID. It will always zero unless some transaction is currently taking a log for it. I hope this is clear here. So begin TS and NTS also I've explained, like when you start or created a transaction, then begin TS is what it stores, and NTS is either infinity or the last updated timestamp. Whatever transaction updated it will be stored in here. So consider one example, like TID is equal to 10. There are two operations, read A and write B. We are doing read in A and write in B. So how it will work, we'll be seeing that. So suppose we are reading A, transaction allowed to read version if the lock is unset and TID is between begin TS and NTS. So this is the main constraint, that TID, which is 10, should be between the begin TS and NTS. Like if you have remembered that there are a few points which I have uh, told you in the slide earlier, that this is the main constraint, that you read the latest version of that particular transaction. So uh, TID is 10, so it will be between the begin TS and NTS. So it will be allowed to read that. So this is the read. So what happens, like TID is 10, transaction ID is 10, it is reading A. So what happens is read TS converted to 10. So new transaction ID is updated as 10, and when you write, what happens, transaction creates a new version. So in reading it is okay, right? रीडिंग में कुछ नया तो कर नहीं रहे हो आप, रीड ही कर रहे हो, बस उसमें क्या पता चल रहा है हमें कि लास्ट अपडेट किसने करा, लास्ट रीड किसने कर दिया, ये पता चल रहा है, ठीक है? कंस्ट्रेंट्स को सिर्फ हम अपडेट कर रहे हैं। राइट के केस में what happens, transaction creates a new version if no other transaction hold logs and transaction ID is greater than read TS. So this is the property which we should follow, right? So transaction creates a new version of if. This is the main point, and you should note down that, like transaction ID creates a new version if other transaction holds log for TID is greater than read TS. So this is the constraint. So what actually happens is transaction ID is updated, TID is equal to 10 for dot. So log is allotted, kind of. The transaction ID is updated as 10, and a new record is created. A new record is created whenever the write operation is there. Whenever I am updating something, I will create a new record. I will not change alter the record, just I will change some constraint which will tell me like what was that last record updated, that particular tuple. It will be stored after creating the new record, but I will create a new record whenever I am writing something to a new tuple or updating something. So this is what happening, like transaction ID was 10, so new record was created, transaction ID allotted 10, begin transaction because it is starting at 10, because 10 is the instance where when it was created. So 10 is put it down in begin TS, and you can see that BX is the NTS is also updated in the previous record BX, because what NTS stores, I was told you that it will store the timestamp of last modified transaction. So BX plus 1 is 10, so NTS will store the that timestamp. So this is it. Begin transaction is now TS, and infinity will tell you about that. So this is it for MVCC. Now we will head towards. You can go through also book. It is also.
Just wait a second, Jitendra.
Yeah.
Students, any doubts regarding the multi-version concurrency control protocol? What we have studied till now? Hanji class, please unmute your microphones. I need a response.
अभी तक तो नहीं मैम।
नो मैम।
क्लियर है जो अभी पढ़ा है जितना भी?
यस मैम।
मैम
हाँ जी
मैम, जब ट्रांजैक्शन को हम राइट कर रहे हैं तो चाहे कोई भी प्रोटोकॉल है MVCC की, तो उसके लिए उसको ही मतलब लॉक मिलेगा राइट के लिए।
मतलब
हाँ,
अगर हम कोई भी प्रोटोकॉल यूज कर रहे हैं तो उसके मतलब राइट के लिए ही लॉक मिलेंगे ना?
हाँ, रीड के लिए यहाँ पर कोई लॉक की जरूरत नहीं है। रीड के लिए क्योंकि आपको जो लास्ट अपडेटेड वैल्यू होगी जब आप ट्रांजेक्शन शुरू कर रहे होगे, जो लास्ट अपडेटेड इंस्टेंस होगा, सपोज राइट हो रहा है होने दो, लेकिन उससे जो लास्ट अपडेटेड होगा, क्योंकि इसमें सब कुछ मेंटेन कर रहे हैं हम BNTS NTS, तो मुझे पता चल जाएगा कि मैं कौन सा मेरा लास्ट अपडेट है, क्योंकि टप्पल तो वही के वही रहेंगे। टप्पल तो मेरे को पता चल रहा है क्लियरली, बस ये रिकॉर्ड्स बनते रह रहे हैं, फिजिकल ऑब्जेक्ट्स बन रहे हैं ना। तो आपको लास्ट अपडेटेड वैल्यू हमेशा अवेलेबल है, तो आपको रीडिंग में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। यहाँ पर सिर्फ राइटिंग के लिए आप एलोकेट कर रहे हो, क्योंकि आप नया रिकॉर्ड बना रहे हो, और कुछ वैल्यूज क्योंकि अपडेट करनी पड़ेंगी आपको, लाइक कि मैंने ये वैल्यू अपडेट करी है, ये मतलब मैंने नया रिकॉर्ड क्रिएट कर दिया, इसका नया इंस्टेंस बन चुका है। सो दिस इज इट, मोटा मोटा यही है फंडा इसका, कि
मतलब यही मेथोडोलॉजी यूज हो रही है राइट लॉक के लिए।
हाँ जी हाँ जी हाँ जी।
ठीक है ओके।
Because when you see the tuple in which data is stored, there is a separate column for read timestamp, and then two columns for begin timestamp and end timestamp. So whenever a transaction reads a data item, its timestamp will be stored in that column. So for read, there are no locks required, but when a transaction attempts to write a data item, then it will create a separate version for that data item and it will store the record accordingly. So locks will be granted for writing only.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Any other queries? Shall we move on to the next topic?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you can also go through this book which we are following, and I'll be discussing optimistic algorithms. So what optimistic algorithm is? Optimistic algorithm assume that transaction conflict and contentions for data will not be predominant, allow transaction to execute without synchronization until the very end when they are validated for correctness. So whenever the transaction is validated for correctness, it is allowed here for is it audible? Hello.
Yeah, it's audible.
Okay. So optimistic concurrency control algorithm can be based on locking or timestamping, as we have discussed timestamping in very clear view was there. So what is there is each transaction follow five phases. One is read, execute, write, validate, and commit. And if commit phase become aborted, then the transaction is not validated. So what is important here is like every transaction have five phases. It can read, write, execute, validate, and commit. And if commit is aborted, then the transaction, if the transaction is not validated, मतलब हम उसको abort कर लेंगे. अगर transaction validate ही नहीं होती है तो हम उसको abort कर देते हैं उस transaction को, right? So it only works with the transaction timestamp during validation phase. This algorithm assigns timestamp to transaction at the beginning of their validation step, rather than the beginning of the transaction as is done with the pessimistic. So pessimistic and optimistic, there are two approaches. In pessimistic approach, we allocate timestamp before that, and here it is different. This is the main difference between the optimistic and pessimistic algorithms. Furthermore, it does not associate read and write timestamp with data item. It only works with the transaction timestamp during the validation phase. So what it is, each transaction Ti, suppose there is a transaction Ti, it is subdivided into a number of sub-transactions, each of which can execute at many sites. So we are talking about the distributed system. So a particular transaction Ti is divided into sub-transactions, and those sub-transactions will be executed, can be executed in different sites. So I'm writing TIS, like, okay. So let us denote TIS is an instance that is running in particular site S. So this is a sub transaction of TI at site S. So the local validation of TIS is performed according to these three rules, which we will be discussing. So rule number 1 states that at each site S, if all transaction TKS, as I have told you that TIS stands for the instance, the sub transaction of TI at site S. So at site S, if all transaction TK is the some instance, right, which is running inside S. So where TS, timestamp of TKS, is less than timestamp of TIS, have completed their write phase before TIS has started its read phase. It is very simple uh, sentence. I hope you can understand that each site S, suppose a site at site S, a TK transaction is running, the timestamp of TKS is less than the transaction time, right? Any problem? Okay. So where here is the transaction ID of TKS is less than transaction timestamp of TIS, have completed the write phase before the TIS. Right. So TIS has started its read phase. Validation succeeded. So what we are doing is that when the validation is succeeded, there are 3 rules which should be followed. So you can see here TKS is there. So we have 5 component: REWES, WVS, read, execute, write, validate, and commit. These are 5 phases of a particular transaction. TIS has started, have completed the write phase before it. इसका write phase जो है वो complete हो चुका before TIS has started its read phase.
चल बाहर चल 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 बाहर
Taishu.
Okay.
अपने बिस्तर चल
Taishu.
चल चल
Taishu. Taishu.
Okay, what we are trying to
Okay.
say in rule 1 is that there are 2 transactions, TK and TI, right? And TKS is a sub transaction of TK which is running at site S. So if this transaction completes its write phase, between another transaction starts its read phase. ये जो ट्रांजैक्शंस हैं ये हमेशा इन्हीं फेजेस में ही एग्जीक्यूट होंगी, ये फेज आपके आगे पीछे नहीं होंगे. right? So first phase will be read, then execute, write, validate and commit. तो अगर एक ट्रांजेक्शन का राइट फेज किसी दूसरी ट्रांजेक्शन के रीड फेज से पहले कंप्लीट हो गया है, then we will allow those transactions to execute. That means validation will succeed for the transaction TKS. बिकॉज यहाँ पे हो क्या रहा है, ट्रांजेक्शन हमारी सीरियली एग्जीक्यूट हो रही हैं, क्योंकि जब तक एक ट्रांजेक्शन का राइट फेज खत्म हो गया होगा, दूसरी का भी रीड फेज भी स्टार्ट नहीं हुआ है, दैट मीन्स दूसरी ट्रांजेक्शन अभी स्टार्ट ही नहीं हुई है, बिकॉज फर्स्ट फेज इज रीड फेज. तो ट्रांजेक्शन यहाँ पे सीरियली एग्जीक्यूट हो रही हैं, so validation for that transaction will succeed in this case. This is the first rule.
So rule 2 states that at site S, if there is any transaction TKS such that the timestamp of TKS is less than TS timestamp of TIS, and which completes its write phase while TIS is in the reading phase, the validation succeeds. So intersection between the WS write stamp and read stamp of the other transaction is 5. So you can see here in the second B, what is happening? This is one transaction. This is another instance of other transaction. So what is happening, that read and write intersection is 5 here. Read, this is the second this concurrency, that the right stamp of TK and intersection of read stamp of TIS should be 5, and such that the transaction timestamp of both are TKS is less than TS or timestamp of TIS. Is it clear?
Just browse to the figure. Just go to the previous page, B part, figure.
Yes, yes.
Now class, in this, in all these three rules, we are assuming that timestamp of TKS is less than timestamp of TIS, right? That means TKS पहले start हो रही है TIS से. So in case TKS is still in its writing phase and read phase of TIS starts. अभी पहले वाली ट्रांजेक्शन का राइटिंग चल रहा है, बट दूसरी ट्रांजेक्शन ने रीड करना स्टार्ट कर दिया है. इस केस में वैलिडेशन सिर्फ तब भी होगी अगर जिन डेटा आइटम्स पे टीके राइट कर रहा है एंड जो डेटा आइटम्स टीआई रीड कर रहा है, उन दोनों में कोई ओवरलैपिंग नहीं होगी. सो इफ timestamp of if the writing set of TKS and reading set of TIS, they
Yes,
have
yes.
nothing in common, then validation will succeed.
And similarly, the rule 3 is also there, right? That writing set of TKS is intersection with reading set of this is 5, and writing set of TKS intersection writing set of TIS should be 5. And so this is in, you can see in C diagram. 5.9C, that reading transaction of TKS or reading set of TKS intersection writing set of TIS is 5, and writing set of TKS intersection with writing set of TIS is also 5. So there is no intersection for them.
Because in this case, TKS is still in its reading phase and TIS has also started its reading phase.
Reading phase. There is no intersection between the reading and writing.
तो इन दोनों के रीडिंग सेट्स एंड राइटिंग सेट्स दोनों डिफरेंट होंगे, तभी ये ट्रांजैक्शन वैलिडेट होगी, अदरवाइज इट विल नॉट बी वैलिडेटेड.
Correct. So this is it. The rule 1 is obvious. It indicates everything is explanatory here. All those points. So the advantage of optimistic concurrency control algorithm is the potential to allow a higher level of concurrency. It has been shown that when a transaction conflict are very rare, the optimistic mechanism perform better than locking system. So there are these rules which should be followed, then only the transaction will be validated, and it is highly effective in terms of concurrency control. So
we have discussed this thing earlier also. In pessimistic control, a major part of effort goes in preventing the conflicts. Whereas
Right, right.
optimistic, that effort is minimized, and if there is a conflict, then it is resolved. So in case where conflicts are rare, optimistic mechanism will perform better than the pessimistic approaches. That is, it will perform better than the locking approaches.
Right, ma'am. So we
So any doubts in today's lecture?
नो मैम.
मैम रूल 3 दोबारा बताना एक बार.
Rule 3.
हाँ, वो डायग्राम को दिखा के एक बार, डायग्राम के कॉरेस्पॉन्डिंग.
Okay. Now in this rule, we have two transactions. TKS has smaller timestamp than TIS. That means TKS has started first, right? And read phase of TKS is still in execution when read phase of TIS starts. अभी पहले वाली ट्रांजेक्शन का भी रीड फेज चल रहा है एंड दूसरी ट्रांजेक्शन का भी रीड फेज स्टार्ट हो गया. तो ये ट्रांजेक्शंस तभी वैलिडेट होंगी अगर इन दोनों ट्रांजेक्शंस के बीच में ना तो कोई कॉमन डेटा आइटम रीड हो रही है, ना ही कोई कॉमन डेटा आइटम राइट हो रही है. तो दोनों
आप इस रूल को एक साथ रख के इस डायग्राम के साथ मैच करोगे तो क्लियर हो जाएगा पॉइंट. टाइम कम है तो मे बी मिस हो जाए.
हो गया मैम.
ठीक है.
हाँ जी.
ओके
ओके, थैंक यू मैम. थैंक यू.
ओके, थैंक यू क्लास.